Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Today we are going to study biology. This is the lecture from the month of March. So we are going to discuss more about foods today, right? This is the lecture from chapter 5.03, page number 120 to 121. The topics which we are going to study in this chapter today are food and energy, types of food and their composition, a note on vegetarian diet, minerals, vitamins, water, and marasmus. So let's move towards our first topic, which is food and energy. Okay. Uh, First of all, why do we need energy? There's a question arises in our mind, right? Why we need energy? We need energy because we have to do some work, right? Our body have to do some work, right? For this we are required energy. And how we obtain energy? We get energy from food. Okay, all foods except vitamins and minerals contain stored energy. This energy is released and made available to living tissues during respiration. When food is burned, it releases the same amount of energy in the form of heat as it does when respires. Okay, what does it mean? It means that when we consume certain food, okay, it will first burn in our body by certain processes, and then it will release some amount of heat energy, okay, when we respire. Okay, why it releases heat? The question arises in mind, right? Because it is an exothermic process. The respiration is an exothermic process and it releases heat energy. Okay, so to discover the energy value of a food, it is burned and the heat given off used to heat a known quantity of water. Okay, since it takes 4.2 joules of heat to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree centigrade. It's a quite much amount of energy, right? 1 gram of water, if you are going to heat or increase its temperature by 1 degree centigrade, you have to utilize 4.2 joules of heat, right? The energy value of food can be calculated by the following formula. Energy equals to temperature rise in degree centigrade multiplied by 4.2, which is a constant here, multiplied by mass of water in grams. For example, you can put 1 because it is increasing 1 degree centigrade, right? Multiply it by 4.2 and multiply it by the grams of water. Here you can say that it's 1 gram, right? So what will you get? You will get the total amount of energy, which will be what? Which will be 4.2 which will be 4.2, right? Why? Because the temperature is 1 and the mass of water is also 1. Okay, so a food's energy value is usually quoted in kilojoules. What is kilojoules? It is basically a unit of measurement of energy. Which energy? A food's energy. Okay, 1 kilojoule is equals to 1000 joules, as 1 kilogram is equals to 1000 grams, right? You have to remember this. Okay, these measurements give only the potential and not the actual energy value of a food. What does it mean? It means that these measurements which we have calculated from the previous formula are only the approximation and not the actual energy value of the food. Okay, another example. If you eat bread and butter with an energy value of 1000 kilojoules of energy, right? First, the bread, which are the pieces of grain in bread, and some of the fat in butter passes undigested through the gut, so its energy is lost. Second, up to 85% of the energy released during respiration is lost as heat. Why? Because of the exothermic process. Okay, heat must be lost. Okay, types of food and their composition. There are six types of foods, namely carbohydrates, proteins, fats and oils, minerals, and vitamins. Let's move towards the carbohydrates. Okay, these are sugary and starchy foods such as sweet fruits, honey, jam, bread, cakes, potatoes, rice, and spaghetti. Carbohydrates are the main source of energy for living things. It's 1 gram yield about 17 kilojoules of energy. Okay, now you can imagine if you are eating a bar of 20 grams. So, how much energy you are consuming by eating that one bar of 20 grams? You can get your energy value by multiplying 17 kilojoule of energy, sorry, by multiplying 17 to 20 grams. Okay, and you will get your energy value. Okay, so most carbohydrates are converted by the body into glucose before they are respired. Why they are converting into glucose? Because our body works by small units. Okay, in terms of glucose, this is the smallest unit of energy. A food is broken down into a smallest unit such as glucose. Okay, and our brain, for example, it is utilizing these glucose molecules in order to function properly. Okay, plant stores large amount of starch in their seeds and in storage organs like potato tubers. What are the potato tubers? These are basically enlarged structures. For example, if you purchase a potato and you can see the outroots coming out outwards or pointing out from the potato, these are called as the potato tubers, right? Right? Okay. Now, in animals, the main carbohydrate food reserve is glycogen, which is similar to that of the starch, which is present in what? Plants, right? Animals can store only limited amount of glycogen. Okay, when this limits is exceeded, any excess carbohydrate is changed into fat or oil and is then stored in the body. How fats are stored in the body? When an excess carbohydrate is converted into fat or oil, then fats and oils are formed and stored in the body. Clear? Here you can see the some sources of sugars. Of course, sugar is a type of carbohydrate, right? But chocolate, cake, and bread, these are some sources of sugars, right? Starch, potato, rice, and pasta, these are some sources of starch, which is again a carbohydrate. Okay, jams, jellies, honey, fruits, these are also part of sugar. These are also releases sugars when consumed. Okay, fats and oils, these are also called as lipids. These include butter, lard, suet, dripping, olive, and cod liver oil. Okay, as you people know that what is butter, I'm not going to that much detail, but what is lard? Lard is a fat, suet is a hard fat of beef or mutton, dripping is melted fat, olive oil and cod oil are obtained from codfish. Okay, so these are important sources of energy because 1 gram of lipid can yield up to 38 kilojoule of energy when respired. What does it mean? It means that, can you please recall what I have told you earlier in this lecture about carbohydrates, that its 1 gram can yield up to 17 kilojoules of the energy. So these lipids or fats, these are providing you double of the energy, right? It's 1 gram can yield up to 38 kilojoule, like the double of, almost double of the energy which is provided by carbohydrates, right? Okay, fats are very important food reserves in animals and plants. Firstly, because each gram contains twice the energy of the other food, as I have told you earlier. And secondly, because layers of fatty tissues, especially under the skin of animals, insulate the body against loss of heat. It's like your heat is not going to lose, and you are not going to absorb the much amount of the heat because of these insulating tissues present in your body, and these are insulating heat loss. Okay. Here you can see some sources of lipids and fats, right? Butter, cheese, and ghee. These are the most common sources of providing fats and lipids. Okay, cod liver, you can see the bottle of cod liver. Okay, it is cod liver oil. It is rich in omega 3. Why rich in omega 3? Because it is obtained from the fish, right? Next to it, you can see the suet, next to it, lard, and next to it, the dripping, which is melted oil or fat. Okay? Okay. Moving towards proteins. The most important sources of proteins are meat, liver, kidney, eggs, fish, and beans. These foods supply the raw materials living things need for growth and repair or damaged and worn out tissues. What does it mean? As you people know that we have studied it earlier lectures that proteins are important source. These are the building blocks of your body. They build your muscles, right? Your tissues, and they also have some parts, some role in defense mechanism of your body. They also replace your damaged tissues, right? So these are very much important. Okay, proteins are not usually required for energy, but when this happens, they can yield up to 17 kilojoules of the energy per gram, like carbohydrates. Okay, proteins are digested into chemicals called amino acids. There are 26 amino acids, but only 10 are called as essential amino acids, which are needed by humans. Okay, the rest of the amino acids can be made by our body. We have to, what does it mean? We have to take these essential 10 amino acids by our diet. Okay, and the rest of the amino acids are made by our body. Okay, animal proteins contain all 10 essential amino acids, so they are called as first class proteins. Here you can see the examples of proteins: milk, bean, meat. These are the sources of proteins. Okay, by consuming these food products you will get proteins. Okay, moving towards vitamins. Vitamins have no energy value but are essential for growth and health. Yeah, why vitamins are important? Let me give you an example of its importance. For example, if we don't consume vitamin, okay, if we don't have vitamin in our body cannot work properly. For example, if our body is deficient of vitamin C, what will happen? We will suffer with scurvy, okay, which is the bleeding from the gums. So now I hope it will be clear that how much vitamins are important for our survival. Okay, some are needed in very small quantities. Vitamins take part in vital chemical reactions in the body, usually in conjunctions with proteins and enzymes. What does it mean? Vitamins works in coexistence with proteins and enzymes to perform various functions or various chemical reactions in the body. A note on vegetarian diet. No plant protein contain all the essential amino acids, so plant proteins are called as second class proteins. Okay. Uh, what does it mean? It means that if somebody is not going to consume non-veg diet, for example, fishes, eggs, meat products, right? And he is restricted to consume plant products such as lentils, pulses, and vegetables. So, no plant protein, no single plant protein contain all essential amino acids. Okay, there are multiple plant products which have to be consumed in order to fulfill the demand of 10 essential amino acids. Okay, all 10 can be obtained by eating a wide variety of plant foods, as I have told you earlier. A vegetarian diet can be extremely healthy because it does not usually contain much fat, oil, sugar, or salt, and is high in dietary fiber. And you don't know the importance of dietary fiber, right? We have discussed it in earlier classes that dietary fibers are helpful in maintaining proper bowel metabolism, right? It will boost up your intestine metabolism The movement of food in intestine is regulated by and improved by dietary fibers. It is helpful in digestion. It improves your digestion and your gut metabolism. Here you can see some sources of plant proteins: peanut, chickpea, lentils, and almonds. Okay, moving towards minerals, you require about 15 different minerals in your diet. Like vitamins, they have no energy value but are essential for health. Most essential minerals are supplied by a diet of meat, eggs, milk, green vegetables, and fruits, right? There's no survival possible if we cannot consume minerals. Remember this. Like vitamins, they have the similar importance. Okay, now moving towards water. Again, there's no life if there's no water. Okay, you require at least 1.7 liters or 3 pints of the water daily to replace water loss through the skin. How your water is going to lose from the skin? It can be during evaporation from your kidneys in feces, or from lungs during breathing, from sweating, right? Okay, when for another example, let me give you another example. When you are very hot, your body can lose up to 1.5 liters of water an hour as it evaporates from your skin to cool you down, right? So we have to drink at least 1.7 liters of water in order to replace the loss of water. Okay, moving towards a disease called marasmus. It is basically a condition caused by a lack of proteins and energy giving carbohydrates in the diet. Marasmus is a form of malnutrition. What does it mean? It means that inadequate amount of nutrients. Okay, when a person is not getting enough nutrients, then he or she will suffer with marasmus. Okay, here in this picture you can see that a child with marasmus may not grow as children usually do, right? This child is suffering from marasmus. He's losing his muscles and fatty tissues, right? Fatty layers or adipose tissues, etc. His rib bones are pointing towards outwards, right? You can see it clearly. His skin is lifting down, and he's not normal at all. Okay. Now I have a task for you people. You have to write answers of the following questions in your journals, right? Okay. Don't worry. How will you write answers? You will write answers by finding it from your textbook or this lecture. Okay, you don't have to worry, everything is mentioned in this lecture, everything is explained to you. Just give a read to your book and write it down. Okay, the question number one is, how does food gives us energy? You will find this answer from my lecture, right? Write a short note on the following: carbohydrates, proteins, fats, and oils. Either you can find it from my lecture or from the book, from page number 120 and 121. But remember, do not copy down the whole passages or paragraphs that are written in your book, right? You have to write brief notes on carbohydrate, proteins, fats, and oils, right? Do not copy down, do not copy paste. Write in your own language and briefly. Now moving towards question number 3. Calculate energy contained by the following foods: eggs and beans. In this slide you will find the data. Okay, it's not that much difficult that you are thinking, right? Just stay relaxed and calm. What will you do? Just focus and go back to my example which I have given you about the chocolate when I was teaching you carbohydrates, right? What did I tell you at that time is that if you eat a chocolate bar of 20 grams, you will calculate is its energy value. How? By multiplying it with 17. Why with 17? Because 1 gram can yield up to 17 kilojoules of energy, right? And you will get your energy value. So do it, like, do it here. with this data. Okay, here's the data of beans. Okay, moving towards question number 4, why animal proteins are called first class proteins and plant proteins are called as the second class proteins. We will get its answer on page number 121 or in my lecture. Why water is needed by the body? You will find its answer in page 121 or in my lecture. Okay, now question number 6. You have to make 10 fill in the blanks by reading this chapter from your textbook. Okay, and I hope you must have understood this lecture. Um, Stay at home. Thank you for your patience. Stay at home. Enjoy your vacations as much as you can while staying at home and study hard. Best of luck. Thank you.